Okay, so in this tutorial, we're going to be working with the text editor, and we're going to be adding images in line within the body of the text. And so that's not something you always have to do, but sometimes when you are, especially if you're doing maybe a blog post, or you're working with some description, working on an article, and some page content, and you want to put an image actually in line within a paragraph, between paragraphs, that sort of thing within the copy text. So we've got some some temporary lorem ipsum text here that we're working with in a post, and we're going to work with some images. So the first thing you need to know is that wherever the cursor is where your image is going to go. So what we're going to do first is we're going to create an image that is going to be kind of like a key image at the top of say, a blog post in this situation. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new paragraph right at the top. That's where the image is going to go. And we're going to use our Insert Image button. It's going to open our plugin to grab our images. And we're going to work with some images that are already on our system. So if you already have some images that you've uploaded or maybe used in the past and using again, you find that folder. I want to first go across the top. We've got this magic image, a plain image, and we've got drag and drop. Drag and drop can be handy, but it does tend to make the images smaller than you may want them. As long as you place the cursor where you want the image to go at the beginning, drag and drop's not really that necessary. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the magic image feature that will rescale the image down to fit within the maximum constraints defined within the system configuration. We've got a demo folder here with some images. And so I'm going to grab I know I have this one here that I've pre-selected. You'll notice the image is already 1200 pixels by 800 pixels. And when we click on the name now to insert that image into our post, the system will automatically resize that down to fit within the maximum constraints that have been set up. And that's so it doesn't break your layout. If it's been set up, configured properly, that'll be the way it works. All right, so there you can see the images in the system, in the editor, just the way you expect it to be. All right, and then if you click on the image and it highlights blue, and you click back on this, it turns to modify image, at which point when you click on this, you have a couple things you can do that are important. Or first, the most important here is at the bottom is that alternate text. And you want to say, you want to give this a nice description. And if you wanted to give it a title, that's kind of handy, but not completely necessary. And so we're just going to say update that. So it's going to update our underlying code and that to make it search engine friendly. And we're going to come up here, we're going to save our work, and then we'll have a look at what that looks like on the page. So we've saved it. I'm just going to clear our content cache so that when we get there, we will see the changes that we just made. Okay, so here we are on the page with our post, and you can see now there's our image, full width of our column across the top, and then the article or blog post down below, which is exactly what we wanted. So now we're going to go back and we're going to see how else we can manipulate the images within our system with the text editor. So one thing you might want to do is maybe not have it as a full width image across the top as a key image, but maybe as a small box off to the right of your text, or left if you so choose, and have the text flow around the image. So what you would want to do, what we need to do at this point then, is we need to place the image at the beginning of our paragraph right here. So without having to reinsert the image, we can actually select the image, and then we can click and drag, and we'll see our cursor just underneath here. We can drag it right there, and now that image is, because it's full width, the text is flown underneath it. So it's in the right spot, but it's too big. So we want to go back into our modify image. And in this case, we're going to have the image go off to the right side, have the text be on the left. And so the first thing we need to do is we have to pick the right appropriate style, which is the image on the right. And then we need to make it smaller. So we're going to say 250 pixels. And whenever we're changing just one width and height, which is usually, let's go back there again. We're going to come back here. Sorry about that. We're going to go right. If you ever, you're usually just changing the width because that's the most knowledgeable one that you can figure that you can work with. Height is kind of hard. And you obviously, to know if you change the width, what the height is going to be, requires math, and who wants to do math? So what you do is you remove the height, leave that blank, and you set your width to the value you would like, 250 pixels. And then we've already added our alternate text, so we're going to click Update. So you can see it almost looks right. We've got our text, our images on the right as we want it, but it didn't scale properly. That's just a little bug in this text editor at this stage. All we have to do is click Save and review this again. It'll reload, save our work, reload the text editor, and we'll have our image back scaled nicely the way we expect it to be. So let's bring this back up into view. So there we go. There's our image. On the right, text flows nicely around with some nice spacing around it, all set up with the existing styles within the system. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to clear our cache. We're going to go over and look at our page, see those changes. So here it is with our first image we put in. So now we've modified it. So I'm just going to refresh this page. And there we go. We see our text on the left, image on the right, text flowing around it quite nicely proportioned. Okay. So the next, the thing we can do, so we need to maybe upload some images to the system because the image we have is on our computer and not on the web server yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back here. We want to add a new image. It's going to go down here. It's going to go at the beginning of this paragraph. This time, just for variation's sake, we'll make it be on the left, small, and the text flow around on the right side. So what we're going to go back up to our images. Now, when you're uploading images, there's two things you need to do. One is if you have to select the folder you want to load into. In this case, I'm just going to load it into my demo folder. So I click on my demo folder. Excuse me. And you'll see it'll give us a list of the images that are currently there. But the other thing it does is it sets this path at the top for uploading files so that the system knows where you want to store it. That makes it easy to find your image when you're actually wanting to select it to insert it. So we're going to say choose file, and I'm going to grab a new image here, click open. I'm going to grab a second image, open, and then I'm going to upload my files. If you are, so this override existing files, so say you've resized the image or you've maybe made someone's made adjustments to the image for you and you need to overwrite the image that's already there. You don't want to create a second version of it. You can say overwrite the existing file instead of creating a new version of the file. So now we're going to upload those files into the system. All right, and I'm going to grab this background blurred image by clicking on the name. Now it's going to bring us over here, and you can see as of course when it first comes in it's really big. So we're going to select it again, say modify image. Say this time we want it to go on the left. We want to remove our height and we want to scale it down to again say 250. Alternate text is Wheatfield. Okay, so we've got some alternate text for search engine friendliness. I'm going to say update. And of course we're going to go up and save. Okay, so here we're back into our text editor again. I'm going to scroll down, and there it is. There's our image, it's in our paragraph, and our text flowing around it. So let's clear our content so we can see those changes right away. I'm going to flip over to our page, and reload it. And there we go. There's our image down below. And then lastly, for argument's sake, we're going to throw in a really large image. So if we go back here, we're going to put it in between these two paragraphs. So if you do happen to be given an image or sourced an image from somewhere and it's quite large, you've uploaded it already and you're like, oh, what do I do? Do I have to resize it? The only downside to uploading is that it takes up more storage space on your web server. These days it's not necessarily a big deal. So we're gonna, this one, as you can see, is 5,000, almost 6,000 pixels wide. So I'm just going to click it to add it in here. Our system is working here. It's going to actually be resizing the image, creating a copy of it. Okay, and then here is our image in the system. Okay, and once again, let's say for friendliness, we're going to add some alternate text. Oop, let's go back here. Photo of Bloom. We're going to say, we want to center this one, but we're going to make it a little bit smaller. We're going to just say just a little bit. We'll say maybe 400. And we'll clear that out. And we'll update this. Okay. And we'll save our work. It's a white background, so we don't necessarily see the change right away. Here we come down. Okay, and there's our image. So I don't know within the page. Let me just check them on, see if that worked properly. No, it did not. So let's try that again. Let's go image center. 400. Update. There we go. That's what we wanted to see. And then we're going to save it. And then the last step, of course, is going to be we want to select just the paragraph, and I'll show you that in a moment, when this, and set the alignment to center, to actually center the image. Of course, you don't have to center it. You can make it go left or right, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay, so here we are. There's our image. Now, if we select the image, we want to apply our style not to the image. It already has the style we want, but we want to actually select a paragraph. And if you look down at the bottom here, you can see that the paragraph has a style, which is this dot align justify. And so what we want to do is we click center, it'll change to align center, which is what we want. Or we can go to the left, or to the right. We can actually force it to left or go back to the center. So we'll leave it in the center. We'll save this work. And we'll clear our cache, and then we'll have a look at it. Back over here, we'll reload our page. So now you can see we've got our nice image in between our paragraphs, one to the left, of course top, one to the right. Hope this is really helpful and clears up some issues with working with images. And yeah, have some fun.